Aloha, y'all. Welcome to the Esports Futuri E-Zine podcast, where we chat it up with your favorite celebrities, influencers, local heroes, and people of all walks of life as we reveal the unexpected connection they have to the gaming industry. I'm your host, Chauntel Boucher. Well, hello, and aloha, y'all. Miss Chauntel Boucher here, Managing Director and Editor-in-Chief of the Esports Futuri magazine and everything else Esports Futuri. Today, I have a very, very, very special guest, and his family holds a very close place to a lot of people's hearts. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Jackson family. Maybe a couple people have heard of them before. But Mr. Donte Jackson, we are so fortunate to have you with us today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, awesome. You know, I just thought it was kind of cool, you know, as I stalk people online, because that's what I do for a living. We've been Facebook friends, I don't know, for a long time. And something inside of me was like, I gotta go check up on that kid, see what he's up to. And I look at behind him, everybody, these pop toys and all that. And I reached out to him, and he was just awesome and said he would love to do the show. So again, welcome. So let's just start off by talking a little bit about your first experience with having a passion for comics or video games or anything in this industry, because I know you're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
What's your earliest memory?
Yeah, my earliest memory is probably I've always been a fan of toys. So like when I was a kid, toys were not just toys, they were my friends. They were alive. They had feelings. I took care of them. I slept with them, all that. So I've always been into comic book toys, superheroes. But my earliest memory is definitely probably cartoons, is my introduction into the comic book superhero world, for sure.
That's awesome. And what was your favorite one to watch? Did you have one?
X-Men, Power Rangers, and Spider-Man were like everything to me.
And all of those are now in video games. You know, it took a while for that kind of stuff to happen, but now it's like that transition from the cartoon comic industry into video games. Like, what was that transitional moment for you when you're like, hey, I'm into this and now I can actually play it or be a part of it in some way?
It's just kind of, I mean, I can't even name a specific moment. It was just all I was into as a kid.
Yeah. I love that. And talk to me a little bit about what you're doing with your pops back there.
So I have a YouTube channel where I unbox all kinds of collectibles, from Pokemon cards to figures like the pops, which I just recently got into like 4 or 5 years ago. I wasn't the biggest fan, and now I'm just crazy addicted.
Yeah. And what made you crazy addicted? What is that? What is it that's so fulfilling about it for you?
Yeah, I think if you talk to any collector, it doesn't matter if you're collecting like glass vases or pops. It's like I've talked to people that collect, toy motorcycles, whatever, and we all have a similar type of vibe. There's something about collecting that whatever you're collecting kind of represents a feeling or represents something in your life that means a lot to you. So for me, it's always been superheroes and comic books and all that stuff.
Yeah, it is very nostalgic, you know?
Yeah, it's just a feeling, it's hard to explain, really.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
With Funko Pops in particular, something about the minimalist rendition of every hero, and what's cool about them is like no matter what you're into, there's a Funko Pop for your taste.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And, I know you just mentioned kind of Pokemon. Tell me a little bit about that and your passions with that.
Oh man, I've loved Pokemon since before I can barely talk. I knew Pikachu was, So growing up, I played every main series game on the Game Boy, like before it had color. I collected the cards. Those were like huge in the 90s. I think everybody collected Pokemon cards in the 90s. So about like 6-7 years ago, I was at Target and I was like, I haven't gotten Pokemon cards since I was a kid. Like, let me try it. I bought one little pack for like $4. And I went home and I somehow pulled like a $400 card, like one of the rarest cards. Yeah, it was it was a Charizard, rainbow rare Charizard.
Oh my God.
People sell it for like $500 and the price keeps going up. It's crazy. But I didn't even know it was rare until my friend who was also into it, he was like, do you know this is like the rarest card? And I was like, no way. That's crazy.
What?
And I kind of just took it as a sign, like, this means something. Maybe I should continue to follow this passion, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I just reinvigorated my passion for it. And yeah, I always wanted to do YouTube. And, you know, I wanted to do so many things on it. And I didn't know how to get my feet in the water, you know? So I just figured, why not start with my passions, collecting Pokemon, games, things like that.
No, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, you only bought one pack when that happened?
What was that?
You only bought one pack when you found
Pack. Yes.
like if that's not a sign, I don't even
Right?
know what the heck is. I never heard of nothing like that.
It was
It,
incredible.
that is cool. And we were talking earlier too as well. You were saying, do you still play Pokemon Go?
Yes. Yes. I'm like one of the only people, but there is still a large community. What's weird is during quarantine, you know, players, active players went through the roof. And
Sure.
yeah, they made tons of money during quarantine because people, you know, were just like, what am I going to do with all this time? And the thing about Pokemon Go is it's a game where you kind of have to go outside and you kind of have to be very social. It's a very social game. You have to team up with other people. So during quarantine, I feel like they did a really good job at altering the game to kind of suit, you know, quarantine.
I was wondering about that. Can you give me a couple of examples?
For instance, like a huge part of the game is you have to do what's called a raid, and you and up to like 10 to 15 players have to meet up. So I've met like hundreds of people just from Pokemon Go. It's crazy. And you team up and you battle like a master Pokemon that you have to take down and catch.
Yeah.
So now what they implemented with quarantine is now you have the remote raid feature, which is now I can be almost a mile away from the actual place where you're supposed to meet up, and I can do a raid.
You can still do it? No,
Yeah.
that is so cool, man.
Pretty innovative. Like, I have to give it up to them. Yeah.
And you made a really good point too, and something especially in the gaming industry during COVID and quarantine and all this stuff, gaming has gone up substantially, just for obvious reasons. Do you find yourself playing anything more than usual, or trying different things, or trying to play different?
Putting more time in on the Xbox for sure. I just recently, me and my girlfriend got into Fortnite, which I know the hype for it is like long gone, it's past, but there's still a huge hardcore fan base for Fortnite. And it's funny, speaking about comics, it's like right now, the theme of Fortnite this season is like all Marvel, all superheroes. So it's like no matter where you go, you can't escape, you know, that Marvel has become in superheroes.
Yeah, I know. I've been noticing that too as well. But you know, it's funny. We actually have an article coming out in our first magazine too about Fortnite, because my son still plays it too as well. And he's like, we need to keep this going. And there's still so many people that are playing it. And again,
I'm with them.
Again, quarantine and all that, people are getting back into stuff too as well.
Yeah. I mean, not even just video games, even like board games. Like you go to Target, they're all sold out.
Puzzles.
Yeah, puzzles, all that.
That's another one too, man. I co-own a puzzle company called Neuropuzzles, and when I was going online to do some research for stuff, because sometimes I buy extra puzzles or whatnot, they're all sold out everywhere. I literally can't find anything.
Yeah, it's incredible, right?
I know, I love it. And so, tell me, what other kind of games are you into? I know that you said you play with family from time to time. What do you?
Yeah, everyone in my family that's like under 30, we're all gamers. We all my brothers, they love Call of Duty. They love like the online Warzone. I play with that. I dabble in that, but I like the kid aspect of Fortnite. It's all colorful and bright, as opposed to like a real war scene, you know, like real blood and all that. It gets like kind of crazy, but it is a fun game. But my family, when we get together, our like family game is Mortal Kombat, which is like a 2-player fighting game.
Oh, I love that game.
Yeah. It's totally bloody and realistic, and I love it. So it's just like, you know, it's just about what your taste is, you know.
Yeah, like that and Street Fighter. That's another one.
Classic. Yeah, I'm not too good at that, but I can humbly brag about Mortal Kombat. My skills are pretty good.
You definitely beat me. We'll see one day. We may have to.
Yes, we'll have to do that. We'll live stream.
Do a live stream and just be like, "Look here, let me get you." Cool. And tell me something, in your opinion, because to me, one of the reasons why I'm passionate about gaming and comics and all these things is there's still such a big innocence behind it, and it doesn't go against any kind of age or gender or anything like that. It really helps to bring people together, and it's like you're a member of this like community that
Yes.
you have like mutual understandings about things. Can you
Yeah.
speak a little bit more to that and those passions, or what you can see that it's positive for, especially what's going on right now with quarantine and all this other kind of stuff? Like, can you
Yeah,
maybe?
I mean, I think it's kind of like in every generation, whatever pops up in pop culture, I think the older generation always goes, "That's not good for your brain. That's not good," or "That's not real music," or it's always a pattern. I'm sure when I'm older, I'm going to be like, "What are my kids listening to? What are they playing?" They're wearing virtual reality sets for like 10 hours out of the day. I'm sure we'll call them crazy, but I think what's happening with the video game revolution, because it really is, and I think quarantine has kind of heightened that because
Yeah.
everybody's at home, so you kind of have to turn your home into an entertainment system. You can't, leave for that anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I mean, my personal opinion on it is like, for instance, the old argument of do violent video games make kids more violent? In my opinion, I totally disagree. I think if you're a violent person, you're kind of probably already going to do some violent stuff. I don't think you playing a violent video game is going to push you off the edge. That's my opinion. I'm
Right.
sure someone will have a different opinion. But for instance, I would sneak and play Grand Theft Auto with my older cousins, and I'd be chopping up people with chainsaws. And I mean, I see myself as a peaceful person. I wouldn't want to cause harm like that to anyone.
Oh yeah, you totally are. You're a mellow dude.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's really about the individual, But yeah, I think even science is kind of doing studies on the effects of video games on the brain, and I think that what the old stigma of if you're a gamer, you're lazy or you're a loner or you're antisocial, even though that might be the case, because obviously too much of anything is a bad thing, right?
Yeah,
But I
absolutely.
think science is starting to kind of prove that there's a lot of cognitive brain function being exercised through video games, and in particular with older people, they've showed that it kind of helped keep their brains fresh and kind of
Their mind.
things with Alzheimer's and things with like kind of negate that, which is kind of incredible, that it can be used as sort of like a therapy.
Yes.
And I don't know if have you done virtual reality?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It is
incredible.
cool, man. It is cool. Like
Right.
VR, super into the VR.
Yeah.
I mean, they're using it even in the medical field these days, right? Like
Right.
to do simulate surgeries and
Yeah.
teach about biology and science and all these other things.
Yeah.
Microsoft is coming out with a flight simulator as
Wow.
well too. And we're talking like it's intense. We actually have an
Wow.
article coming out about that too as well. But I encourage you to look that up because
I will. Yeah, that's really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's awesome. And I like how you kind of bringing up some things like, in my opinion, because listen, everybody's opinion is welcome here. But let me ask you this too as well. So you said you also play with your girlfriend too, right?
Yeah, she's
She's a
like a huge
gamer.
yeah.
Like, what do you feel is kind of lacking right now in the industry for girl players? What do
Wow,
you think?
that's a great question. I mean, I don't know. I feel like
Do you
I
think
feel
there
I
is a
think
lack? Do you think that there's something missing
I
from
think there can
that?
always be improvements to cater to a woman audience for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely. I think that you can always improve that. But I feel like it's very slept on like how many girls are actually into video games. I think people are kind of waking up to that. Like it's not just a thing for guys.
totally. They totally are. And
Yeah.
and also kind of again, not to hop around everywhere, but I really liked what you said about the older generation too as well. And it's stimulating their mind, helping with things like Alzheimer's and dementia. Like I was telling you before, we have a puzzle company and it encourages that. We're going to be working on a digital version of it too as well, and because it's just so true. And did you
Yeah.
know a little factoid that most of these gamers that are gaming right now about 40 years old, like late 30s, early 40s,
Right.
and they
It's
be spending like on an average, I think is like $300 a month
wow.
on,
Yeah. I
on
mean,
gaming.
if you love it, why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
People spend money on crazier things, watches and all kinds of things. If you want to spend it on a video game, I'm not gonna judge you at all.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so for you, now you kind of tapping more and more into this industry. What does your future kind of look like with this? What is some of your goals?
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I think the ultimate goal would be to actually, because I'm a writer, so I have a series of children's books. I'm developing 3 different stories as far as comic books and actual just like an adult novel. I have ideas for that, but I always figured, I was like, you know what? It would be really cool to write a script for a video game, because I think
Mm,
such a huge aspect of video games is storytelling. People don't really realize how much, like growing up, some of the best video games were the ones with like the craziest stories, you know? And
totally.
it's equivalent to a movie, you know, beginning, middle, and end. And you got to have very impactful characters that you care about. So I think maybe one day I'll try to write a video game script and see where that goes.
Oh my God, you should totally do that. We'll have to partner
Right?
up with something like that one. Hey,
Yeah.
talk to us about your children's books, because
Yeah.
I
It's
love
a
that.
children's series called Herbivore the Dinosaur. And it's just about a little dinosaur who goes on adventures. And it's kind of to teach kids, you know, the newest one is called Herbie's Colorful World. So we just talk about each color, and it's kind of like a Dr. Seuss rhyming book teaching them about colors.
That's awesome. And what are the ages on that? What's it geared towards?
I think it varies. It's about like, I would say 3 to 5, maybe
Yeah,
2 to 4. Yeah,
that's
we start
great.
learning about colors.
And so what kind of inspired you to do that? I mean, it's like writing a book, first of all. I mean, everybody always talks about stuff and doing that, and they never actually do it. But there's always like something that triggers that. So what was that for you?
For me, it was I think I just want. I've had the idea. It always starts with an idea. So I'm like, I have 1,000 seeds in my mind of what I want to see be developed. And I think for a writer, they'll all tell you like the hardest thing to do is just to have the discipline to every day try to sit down and water whatever seed has the most energy for you, the most charge, you know? So
Yeah.
I've always had this little character, dinosaur character in my mind. I didn't know if it was going to be, you know, a cartoon, which it might later be. We're working on that. But
Yeah.
I always thought, okay, let me sit down and see what I can do with this. And I just thought, this has to be a kid's book. Once I started, I was like, this is a kid's book character. And let me see if I can take it all the way. And it worked out. Thank God.
Yeah, that's great. And when is the next one come out? You said you're working on the third book?
No, no. So I'm not working on. I'm putting Herbie on hold for
Oh,
now.
Herbie's on hold.
For now, 'cause I feel like the last 2-3 years of my life have been dedicated to Herbie. I love
Yeah.
Herbie. Right now, we're trying to see if we can bring it up to like a cartoon level and
Yeah.
just expand that. But right now, I'm working on a few different other projects that I don't really want to talk about, but definitely look forward to them in the future. Yeah,
All right, to be continued
I'm
on
excited. Yes, yes.
that. To be continued. So who would you say is your most inspirational character that you follow? I know we've touched a little bit on it, but who's your favorite character and why? I know you're a Marvel fan, so
Oh, you mean fictional character?
yes.
For me, Spider-Man's always been number one. I don't know what it is about Spider-Man. Since I was 4 years old, I don't know if it's the color of the suit. I don't know if it's powers, but it's just I've always resonated to Spider-Man, and I think what is so appealing about Spider-Man is he's not like the God of Thunder. He's not
Mm,
like he wouldn't appear like a normal superhero. He's very relatable to the everyday man,
yes.
and he has trials and tribulations that normal human beings have. Like, how do I talk to a girl? How do I, you know, how can I be a superhero and show up to the family dinner? It's like very relatable stuff. So Spider-Man for me, but second would have to be X-Men. X-Men
Oh,
is like
okay.
I love X-Men. I think I think they haven't been represented right yet in the live action movie world, but I'm looking forward to see what Marvel does with the X-Men franchise.
I have to agree with you on that,
Yeah.
because when you're comparing it to the comics and stuff, I guess I always had like a different picture kind of painted in my mind a bit, but I
Yeah.
really get it. And then so for non-fictional characters, who would you say would be your biggest inspiration just when you're working on your passions, whatever it is?
I mean, if we're talking about Marvel, you have to talk about Stan Lee and Jack
Yeah.
Kirby, those creators that were so they were just such visionaries, and they took, I mean, just the fact that like 20, 30 years later, probably more, I don't even know how to count, but so many years later,
Yeah.
the
A
work
lot.
is still affecting the hearts and minds of people all over the planet. It doesn't get more influential than that, really. But I mean, of course, Walt Disney, just another crazy creator with so many cool ideas. Joseph Campbell's another one. He's like kind of a more obscure writer, but he is the one who kind of outlined what is called the hero's journey. Most people have heard about that.
Yeah.
And most of the stories we love, like The Matrix, Harry Potter, Star Wars, all those stories were kind of molded because of Joseph Campbell's work, which he studied every story, every fairy tale, every like religious teaching. And he realized, like, wait a minute, these are all the same stories being told in different ways.
The formula.
Yeah. It's kind of like on a keyboard or a guitar, it's like only a number of strings or a number of keys, but infinite amount of songs are coming out every day.
Well, you're definitely a writer when you just say stuff like that. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. So it's almost like the same simple formula can churn out so many different, incredible stories.
Yeah. No, I love it. That's so beautiful. Crying. Well, I'm just so happy that you were able to kind of, join in and chat with us just a little bit. And I want to have you back. I want you to become part of the team, man. There's some big things going on now here. But before we kind of exit this out, what would you like to see more of in the gaming, the esports, the comic communities, or anything like that? When we're talking about, like with us with Esports Futuri, we are the first multimedia company that is actually just pulling from every single genre possible. That way we can connect everything to gaming, esports, comics, and show how so many people relate. What is it that you would like to see more of?
Wow. I mean, I just want to see more virtual reality. I want to see, because I feel like right now we're in the, like the Sega Genesis stage. Like we're so impressed with what we have now, but I can't imagine what it's going to be in 10 years. I truly can't. I feel like that's where most things are headed. Eventually, everyone's going to have a virtual reality setup in their house. And especially after quarantine, you realize how much you can do from home. So imagine schools and jobs and everything. Imagine if it's probably headed towards virtual reality offices and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, totally. I mean, look at how we're doing this interview right now. I mean, we could be sitting beside each other, and I'm sure one day we will be, but I mean, just this is common now. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, again, I'm so happy and so blessed that you took the time out.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Anytime you talk about this stuff, I'm here.
He's like, all right, let's go, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how can everybody follow you? Can you
Instagram?
John Trillius. He's also John Trillius.
Yes. Also, that's my YouTube, Donte Jackson. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I rarely check Facebook, but Twitter, Instagram. You can reach me and find me. Just look up Donte Jackson. Donte's no.
That's right. Don't forget that. Yeah. All right. All right, everybody. Aloha. Adios. And we will see everyone later. Appreciate y'all taking the time, and everybody have a blessed day. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Esports Futuri E-Zine podcast. This podcast is part of the Esports Futuri podcast network and produced by Innovation Media Enterprises. Make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast channel and leave us a review.